Hello, my third grade students. Today we are going to be having a science test review on living things and their needs. This is chapter 1, lesson 1, so hopefully you guys are listening at home and you can follow along, and it's a good test review. Before I forget, the red underlined words are the words that you're going to need to know for the test, so make sure that you're paying attention on those. All right. One of the first things that we learned was adaptations, and it's basically that animals, over millions and millions of years, develop these characteristics that allow them to live in their environment for a really long time. Now, we talked about it in class. This doesn't happen over one animal's lifespan. This happens over, they have kids, and then they grow up, and then those kids grow up and become adults. And after tons and tons and tons of generations, slowly but surely these adaptations developed. And we watched a video in class about the giraffe who has developed these adaptations to help them survive. One of them is the spots. So you may have to give an example on the test of an adaptation. So the spots help the giraffe camouflage into their environment. Camouflage basically is another word for blending. Because the giraffe can camouflage or blend into its environment, it's going to be able to survive a long time because its predators won't be able to see it. Another adaptation that the giraffe has is a tall neck in order to get the branches. Now, we saw in a video that some branches are really low, but the tall guys and the short guys can all get the short branches. But only the tall guys are able to get the tall branches. So the tall dudes end up going to live longer than any of the other camels. And once again, after a really long time, only the long-necked giraffes survive, and they're the only ones that produce offspring, and then they are going to have long necks as well. Okay, another adaptation that we talked about in class that you're going to need to know is nocturnal. And nocturnal means that animals have adapted to sleep during the day. I know we're used to sleeping at night because it's cooler, but animals have adapted to sleep during the day when it's hot, and that way they get rest, and then they come out during the night when it's cool so they can do their hunting, look for food, and they're able to survive that way because they can move around when it's cool. Because in the middle of the desert, right in the middle of the day when it's super hot, dude, they don't want to have to do anything. There's just, the heat's too intense. So they wait during the night to be able to do their thing. And that's called nocturnal. So make sure that you pay attention there. Adaptations are things that animals, characteristics that they have, both physically and mentally. They've learned to sleep during the day. That helps them survive in their environment. Another thing that we learned is humus. How did you say it? Humus. Humus is basically like dead plants and animals. Another thing that you need to know is plants have these structures that help them survive. They have like a stem that helps them get up into the sunlight. And an adaptation that a plant has is these long roots. And these long roots are able to get deep into the soil to be able to get the water in a desert, because there's not going to be water on the surface. It's going to be really deep. Okay? So once again, the plant has structures like a stem and petals and that sort of thing to be able to help it survive, and roots. Okay? Another thing that we talked about is the difference between weather and climate. Weather is what it's like in a single day. Sometimes in Marietta it could be raining, but most of the time it's hot. So the weather is what it's like every once in a while, but climate is what it's like over a very long time. Okay, the average, what you would usually say, or what is the normal weather in Marietta. You would say that it's hot. Okay, so the climate is like the average, or what it's normally like in Marietta. This is pretty obvious here. The kids got this right away. Temperature is basically the measure of how hot it is. Okay? Almost done here. We talked about the difference between plants and animals. How do plants and animals get their food? Well, plants make their own food, while animals have to move to get their food. Animals breathe in oxygen, okay, and plants breathe in carbon dioxide. So that's pretty much it for the Living Things and Their Needs Science Test Review video. I hope you guys helped this out, and I'll talk to you soon.